Welcome back, everyone, to Season 3, Episode 8 of the Inside the Woods podcast, a Valley News show where every week we've been giving you an inside look at Dartmouth Big Green football as they make their way through the 2025 season. I'm your host, Mike Coughlin. This week, we're going to do something a bit different. In addition to our usual interview with Sammy and breakdown of all things Dartmouth football, we have a special interview. We have the Big Green women's soccer coach Taylor Schram on the show to talk about her squad that clinched its first berth to the Ivy League women's soccer tournament since it started in 2023, with a 1-0 win over Yale on Sunday after Haley Rourke buried a penalty kick at the 87-minute and 40-second mark. The women from Dartmouth have been sensational this season. They are 8-3-4 overall and 3-1-2 in the Ivy League. Those 3 conference wins were the highest mark for the Big Green since 2018. Dartmouth has a chance to match its 2018 mark of 4 conference wins when it wraps up the regular season against Cornell at home on Saturday at 5 p.m.
3 ticks remaining. McCorkle just stands in, slings it to the far sideline. It's going to be incomplete, and that is going to do it here tonight. Under the lights with a national TV audience, the Big Green couldn't look much better. 49-3, the final in this one. Doing it in all 3 phases tonight, scoring on offense, scoring on defense, scoring on special teams. Dartmouth picks up a very impressive win, the largest point differential in a win since all the way back in 2013.
That was the final call from the Dartmouth Radio Network of the Big Green's 49-3 dismantling of Columbia during Friday night's nationally televised contest. Dartmouth was in quote-unquote attack mode from the jump on Friday, getting out to a quick 21-0 lead thanks to a 75-yard pick six from senior defensive back Tyson Grimm, one of junior quarterback Grayson Saulnier's 3 rushing touchdowns, and a blocked punt that ended in a scoop and score from sophomore defensive back Nicoy Maddox. Along with those contributions, the Big Green had high-level play from senior running back DJ Crowther, who tallied 103 yards on the ground, and senior linebacker Zion Freer-Brown, who led Dartmouth with 12 tackles. Dartmouth has now won 3 in a row and sits at 5-1 overall and 2-1 in the Ivy, as it heads into a heavyweight bout with the Harvard Crimson. Crimson are unbeaten at 6-0 overall and 3-0 in the Ivy, and are coming off a 35-14 win against Princeton last weekend. They are also ranked 15th in the country in the latest FCS coaches poll. Harvard has had Dartmouth's number in recent years and is on a 3-game winning streak against the Big Green. The Big Green last defeated Harvard in 2021, 20-17 on the road. With all that out of the way, let's get to our bonus interview with Taylor. Here joining me on the show is Big Green women's soccer head coach Taylor Schram. Taylor is in her 3rd season coaching the Big Green and has led the team to its first Ivy League tournament appearance since it began in 2023. Hey, Taylor, thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. Excited to connect with you today.
So, your team has had a lot of success this season, making the Ivy League tournament, having the most wins in conference play since 2018 to name some of these accomplishments. What are some of the things you would point to that have been key to having this kind of season in your 3rd year?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's been an unbelievable year, and I think 2 things really stand out in my mind as to why we're at this point. And first and foremost, I think it's the approach to the team culture that our team has embodied and our staff has embodied. One of our primary core values is love. And this is the closest team that I've ever been a part of in my 10-year coaching career. And it's just so much fun to be around this group day in and day out. You can tell that coming to training is their favorite part of the day. And I think that exudes through everything that we do right now. And I think that has been really instrumental in just how these players show up for each other on game day, because there's just so much love and camaraderie amongst the group. And then the second thing that I think we felt early in the season that was going to be instrumental in just having a successful run is that we were really balanced in the amount of returning talent and leadership that we had in the group, paired with this sort of new wave of players coming in, and there's talent, with the older players and a lot of talent with our young players, and to watch how quickly they blended together was really something special. So I think those are probably 2 of the biggest things that have stood out to me as to why we've been able to go on this run and have success this season.
Right. And, before the season, we had spoken and you talked about how you had a talented group of newcomers coming in. And, one player you singled out from that group for potential impact players was Like Ehrfelt, who was tied for second on the team in goals. Could you talk a little bit about how newcomers like Like have helped the team out this season?
Yeah, absolutely. Like's had a great start to her Dartmouth women's soccer career. We knew that she was going to be a high impact player for us walking in the door, as she's played at the highest level overseas with the Swedish youth national team, amongst others. I think Maeve Theobald, has had a great start in the big green jersey as well. Anna Leshley just had her first U.S. youth national team call up just over the last couple of weeks. Just separating herself as one of the top center backs in the country at the U20 age group. So I think that, and many more, right? I think you've seen Nadia Young step up in a big way, Micah Kagunigan step up in a big way. So there's been a lot of players that have come through this class that have really stood out and impacted our group in a big way. And I think what's great about it is that I don't think that these young players start their careers in the way that they have if the upperclassmen aren't in a position to give them the space and support to do so. And I think that's really what has been the secret sauce in this season, is that our older players, our experienced players have said, we don't care what year you are, how many minutes you've logged in the big green jersey. It's just about showing up and bringing your best and bringing what makes you authentic to this group. And you've really seen that show up day in and day out. And I think that's given these young players a lot of confidence early on in the season, and it's carried us through. And yeah, it's really special. It's been a special thing to witness as a coach, and I couldn't be prouder of, the young players and how they've stepped up and handled some of this pressure while, I couldn't be prouder of how our upperclassmen have supported them along the way.
Right. And, additionally, when we spoke before the season, both you and associate head coach Rachel Pittman talked about how important it was going to be for you guys to take advantage of your opportunities and finish scoring chances. Now with one regular season game left, how would you evaluate the team's performance in that aspect?
Yeah, I think we've done well. I think we've made a lot of progress in how we want to attack. We have a lot of weapons on the front line, and we can be really balanced in the way that we attack. We can play, through Steph underneath and through Haley Rorick underneath. We can get balls out into wide areas with Lulu, Lourdes, Lauterborn, and Like. I think we can really stretch things out with the pace that we have in Maeve, Theobald, and Micah, and Manuela, and those guys. So I think it's really, we're really balanced in the way that we're able to attack. I think, even just going back to our Yale match, I think we would have liked to score a few more goals to take some of the tension out of that game. But overall, I think it's an area that we focused on and we've grown in. I still think it's a work in progress and will continue to be, especially as Ivy League play has picked up. I think we've wanted to score more goals than we have, but when you have, the defensive performances that we've had, I think it really, it allows us to be in every game that we're in because of just how diligent we are defensively from, front line to back line and into goal. So it's, I'd say we've made a lot of progress in our execution in front of goal. I'd still say it's a work in progress, and we're excited to hopefully see it really unlock this weekend heading into our last match before postseason tournament.
Right. And, like you said, you guys still have, one regular season game left on Saturday against Cornell. How are you approaching this game now that you've already clinched a spot in the tournament? Like, are you considering resting players or giving some other players who might not have had as many minutes this year a more run? Just, your thoughts on how you guys are approaching this game.
Well, yeah, it's a great question. We are approaching it the same way we approach every game, which is business as usual, focus on the opponent in front of you, and focus on the details and everything that we do on a daily basis to help us prep for that. We have a chance to contend for a title this weekend. Some things have to go our way and all of that, which is something that hasn't been done in this program since 2003. So, for us, it's about, just staying focused on the game in front of us, not paying attention to the other matches across the league and all of that. But the idea is to walk into the weekend, put together a strong performance, focus on getting a win, and hopefully that is going to give us a lot of confidence and propel us towards, a strong performance in the Ivy tournament.
Right. And, finally, as you prepare for the Ivy tournament, what are the biggest things you're emphasizing with the team to ensure you guys, can keep extending your season?
I think it's about just continuing to be who we are and stay convicted in the things that separate us in this league, being really dialed in defensively, being really tough in the tackle, being dominant in 50-50s. All of those things unlock our attack and allow us to create quality attacking chances when we regain the ball high on the field and we're really diligent in our press. Whenever we've heard this saying for all of our lives in sport that defense wins championships, and our defensive presence is what separates us. So being really locked into that and being focused on the habits that we've built all year long. And just be who we are, have fun. I think that's the thing. We talked so much over this last month about, we're playing for another week together. No one in this program wants this season to end because of how special this team is and how much fun we're having. So can we extend it one more week and lock in for postseason tournament and hopefully, get another chance to spend another week together. So that's the mindset, that's the approach, and business as usual.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Taylor. I really appreciate it, and I wish you luck this weekend and beyond.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Before we get to Sammy, let's go inside the numbers on what is undoubtedly Dartmouth's biggest game of the season thus far. The Big Green definitely have their work cut out for them this week. Harvard boasts the fourth-ranked scoring offense in the nation, averaging just about 43 points per game. Not only that, but the Crimson are also ranked second in the nation in scoring defense, allowing teams to score a measly 11 points per game on average. That being said, the Big Green aren't too shabby themselves in those categories. They have the 33rd ranked scoring offense, averaging 30 points per game, and the 20th ranked scoring defense, holding opponents to about 19 points per game. What this game could hinge on is the turnover battle. Harvard has a knack for taking the ball away this season, with a total of 4 fumble recoveries and 10 interceptions, while the Big Green have turned the ball over 9 times this season, with 5 fumbles and 4 picks. Dartmouth had a clean game on offense Friday, so if they're able to carry that to this weekend, they'll be more than capable of picking up a win. As I mentioned at the top of the show, history looks fondly at Harvard, with the Big Green's latest win against the Crimson coming in 2021. In Dartmouth's 3 most recent losses to Harvard, only 2 have come with Sammy McCorkle at the helm. And in those 2 games, the Big Green lost by just 1 possession. Time will only tell if the Big Green will be able to go down to Cambridge and take down a juggernaut. But in the meantime, let's hear from Sammy and get his thoughts.
And now joining me on the show for his regularly scheduled interview is Big Green head coach Sammy McCorkle. Sammy and his crew will look to pick up their 4th consecutive win on Saturday against Harvard. Hey, Sammy, thanks for coming on.
Hey, Mike, thanks for having me on, my man.
So, congratulations on your victory on Friday against Columbia. The team was dominant in all 3 phases of the game, had a pick 6, blocked a punt, and returned it for a touchdown, on top of your output on offense. What were your biggest takeaways from the win?
Well, I just was really pleased with the way our guys came out ready to play from the very get-go. They had the attack mindset and just in all 3 phases. And it was good to see, we were able to capitalize when we needed to, especially early in the game, have that ability to jump out 21-0. That's huge. And the biggest thing I was really impressed with is that we kept going. We didn't get complacent. We didn't relax. I really thought our guys kept playing pretty much until the very end of the game. And that was the one thing that we stress about all the time, regardless of what the situation is. You got to keep playing full speed. And I thought our guys did that.
Right. And, you kind of led into my next question a little bit with, starting out strong. After the game, you along with your players talked about, your emphasis on being in attack mode from the jump. How satisfying was it for your players to be able to come out strong and put that together, especially, after some of the slow starts in recent weeks?
Well, I think it was huge. I think it's all about confidence and knowing, hey, if you put your mind to it, you can do it. And but really, just really pleased that that was the focus, to make sure that we did that. And I thought that the guys did a good job of doing a good job of capitalizing on the mistakes of the other team, and really limiting our mistakes. But I think just having that mindset and knowing that what we're capable of doing just doesn't guarantee now going forward that it's just going to happen because you think it. You got to go out there and you got to do it. And hopefully that'll be a big boost in the confidence for our guys going forward.
Right. And, last week on the show, we talked about your team having the opportunity to play on national television under the lights against Columbia. How happy are you for your players, for them to be able to put up a performance like that on that type of stage?
No, it's great. We talk about, this is, you've earned the right and opportunity to be in a game like that. And it was exciting to be on a Friday night and be on national television. And we talked about it that, there's going to be a lot of people watching, and, whatever you put on that television, that's what the people are going to see. And it's up to you to decide of what you want, how you want to be seen, and what type of standard that you want to have and what you're going to be recognized at. And I thought our team did a good job of going out there and performing in front of the nation.
Right. Now the lights only get brighter as you guys have a road game against Harvard, which is ranked 15th in the country in the latest FCS coaches poll. What has stuck out to you about the Crimson and you and your staff's review of them?
Well, they're a solid team across the board, all three phases. They've got good players at all the positions. They're a well-coached team, and they've had a lot of success. And they've got a lot of weapons. And that's the biggest thing for us as coaches is putting our players in the right position and making sure we're doing the things we need to do to put our guys in position to be successful. And that's what we're going to continue to work on all week as we build up toward the big game on Saturday.
Right. And, you kind of alluded to it. Harvard has the number 4 scoring offense, the number 2 scoring defense in the nation. They're unbeaten. What are you, talking about with your players? And, what are you guys going to have to do in order to come out with a victory on Saturday?
Well, I think the biggest thing is we got to be assignment talent. We've got to be disciplined. And, that's the biggest thing is about the team that makes the fewest mistakes is going to win the game. And that's going to be huge. And at the same time, though, you can't play hesitant. You can't be worried about making mistakes. That's why you got to prepare yourself all week. That you can just go out there on Saturday and just play without having to think about it. And that's what we're going to do our best to do is prepare ourselves to be in the right spots. But we're going to put ourselves in the right spot and we're going to play. And we need to play fast.
Right. Well, as always, Coach, thanks very much for coming on, and I wish you luck this weekend.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
And there you have it. That was Season 3, Episode 8 of the Inside the Woods podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll be back again next week with the fallout from Saturday's clash with the Crimson and take a look at the Big Green's next matchup, which is at home against Princeton. If you have a question for Sammy, email sports@v, as in valleynews.com. That's sports@vnews.com. Emails there will give you the chance to have Coach answer your question on the next podcast. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next week.